Welcome back to Strathroy Rockets hockey. End of 20 minutes here at the Sarnia Arena. Game 3. The Rockets lead the Legionnaires by a score of 1-0. Joined by Rockets president and NHL referee Don Van Massenhoven, who is with us tonight, getting a chance to take in some of the playoffs. Have you taken in quite a bit of the Rockets playoffs with your NHL scheduler?
Worked out pretty good in the first round. I think I saw 3 or 4 games actually. I have not seen a game in this round up until tonight. I didn't get to see game 1 or 2.
I saw a lot of you on Sports Desk last night due to the Senators and Leafs little barrage.
A little physical activity, but I was in Ottawa for 2 games, Montreal and Ottawa on Friday night, which was a really good game also, so it was good.
You were saying off the air before we came back that Strathroy played a very good road period. What is a good road period?
Oh, I think, in hockey terms, I know it sounds probably pretty plain, but that's the whole point, keeping it simple and just doing the little things, getting the puck out, getting it in, and after, losing soundly last night at home, I'm sure everybody was all worried about this, that, and whatever, but the key was to come out and especially get the first goal and get some confidence back. And you can start to see at the end, I think we were starting to take it to them a little bit, and it was just about playing it, keeping it simple.
The thing about the playoffs, and I know you've seen a lot of playoffs in different levels of hockey, you get blown out in one game, you just got to forget it.
Totally. It's such a roller coaster, the playoffs. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head. I know there's been games even in the National Hockey League. One team's dominating a series, another team wins 6-0, and it just you lose. Your intro was bang on. You lose the game whether you lose it in quadruple overtime or you lose it 10-1. It's just one game. You got to move on to the next. And the team that can do that the best. So far, we've done a good job. In Leamington, every time we lost a game, we came back hard the next. And as I told the boys earlier, Sarnia pushed back. Now we have to push back. That's how it works.
I wanted to talk with you tonight. I had General Manager Dan Gibson on the air in Game 1. We talked about what Hockey Canada is looking to do moving forward, removing fighting out of the game. And I know there might be some questions that you might not be able to answer based on your position with the National Hockey League. But could you give me your thoughts on what Hockey Canada is trying to do and your thoughts on that?
Well, it kind of came up sudden, I guess. On the other hand, I guess it's been talked about or probably thought about for a long time. I mean, I think the NHL game is probably different in the regards of the entertainment factor of the game, so fighting is part of the game. I've always said to people it's not really part of the game at any level. There's a penalty and you go to the penalty box, but in the NHL you get to come back out and continue to play. This league you don't. You're out of the game. So I'm not surprised that it would someday work its way up into the OHL and the CHL and probably eventually into the NHL.
If it and Dan was saying that it would be in many levels of the game, from Junior A or the Canadian Hockey League down. From your on your opinion or your experience, do you think that would hurt the development of a player in terms of not fighting through many levels of hockey and then getting into pro hockey, whether it's the American Hockey League or the National Hockey League, and then coming in a situation where you have to fight but you're not used to it?
I would certainly think that would not be an advantage. I guess you could look at the fact that U.S. college leagues don't allow it, and those players end up in the NHL. So, I mean, one thing about hockey, we tend to have a lot of rule changes, and the one thing that you don't know when you make any kind of a rule change, and whether it's taking fighting out or the red line in or out, there's spin-offs that you just don't know what's going to happen until that happens, and that's the risk that you take. You don't know what might be the side effect of it.
From an officiating point of view, do you believe that there would be an increase in the amount of stick infractions and dangerous play if fighting was indeed removed from the game?
Well, it's funny because people tend to say that doesn't make any sense, and the officials are out there. We're out there to police the game, but hockey's just been one of those sports that players kind of police the game themselves as well. I always compare it to baseball. Nobody says anything about a brushback pitch in baseball. A guy hits a home run, the next inning he comes up, he gets one thrown at his head. I don't think that's very good, but that happens. Or a guy takes a guy out at second base to take away the double play. And totally misses the bag and takes him out with double cleats. Nobody says anything because it's part of that game. So that's the only thing I say about hockey. We have things that are part of our game that are different than other sports, and that's just the way it is.
And I'll ask you one more question, not really about fighting, and I can understand if you can't answer it, and you don't know I'm going to ask this, so I hate to put you on the spot, but just a couple weeks ago the GM's getting together to discuss possible changes in the National Hockey League and rules and all that. One of the things they mentioned was the hybrid icing, where it would be a judgment call by the linesman as to which player gets to the face-off dot first to create that icing call to prevent the collisions and the injuries that we've seen with touch icing. Could you comment as to your thoughts on a possible hybrid icing rule?
Well, I've only seen it a couple times. I went down to the development camp that Brendan Shanahan last summer, and I got to watch it. It certainly looked effective. I mean, obviously everything they're doing and he's doing and the league's doing is all about player safety to make sure that it's safer. I mean, it's still a physical game. The other thing about our sport is we have boards and glass, so there's nowhere, whether you play soccer or other sports, there's not really. Football is a pretty punishing sport, but you're not going to get banged into the boards or the glass. So anything that they can do to I think they have to look at, and that's what they're doing. And what I saw, it works. It's a tough call, though. There's going to be, as I saw Bob McKenzie on TSN say, there's going to be some judgment calls the linesmen are going to make that the teams aren't going to like.
Anywhere from 8 to 12 games left in the regular season of the National Hockey League. Have the officials been given any playoff assignments and as of yet, or is that still to come?
Yeah, no. What happens is in the National Hockey League, because, for example, we have 36 referees and there's only 20 that make the playoffs, they don't tell you until after the season. We're basically like the team. Well, the teams would know up maybe the last weekend where they stand, but we get the first Monday after the season ends, there'll be an email come out as to who's selected. So you don't know till the season's over.
Well, hopefully you get an assignment. Hopefully you go a long ways in the postseason. Thanks for doing this. A great interview. We got to go because the ice is done. We could talk forever, but thanks for the great interview. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the game tonight.
Sorry, appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
President of the Strathmore Rockets, NHL referee Don Van Massenhoven. Stay with us. Coming up after the break, our period summary and our out-of-town scoreboard. You're listening to Strathmore Rockets Hockey live on myFM.